I'm Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video we're going to be looking into who are you manifesting? Now this is predominantly a love tarot reading. However, I kept the doorways pretty open, so if you need to be told something, the message is going to come through. This is a great way to best understand what are we putting out there, and then what are we going to get back. So if you hear a message and you go, I don't want that, that way you can become self-aware and go, okay, I need to change something and understand what I truly want or how I'm expressing myself in order to then receive what I really want. So self-awareness is awesome. Anyways, let's look into these 4 different groups. I want you to pick the one that you resonate with most. I'm going to give you a moment to do so. Now that you've picked the group that you connect with best, you can go down to the description where you can go to your designated group and mark timestamp. But let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out who are you manifesting by looking at the cards. Oh, okay, we're off to a very good start. The Magician upright, 7 of Pentacles in reverse, Ace of Cups in reverse. This is super interesting considering we have the Magician card. 6 of Cups upright. The Empress upright. Oh wow, and 10 of Wands in reverse. Wow, they've been on quite a bit of a journey. This is definitely, I can say right off the bat, somebody who is actually quite spiritual themselves. Spiritual is a pretty relative term when we're talking about this because everybody has like a different way of viewing spirituality. You know what I mean? It doesn't always have to define a, how do I put this? You could just simply believe in the universe and that's spiritual. Some people believe in the idea of law of attraction and just the idea of manifesting as a spiritual act. You know what I mean? But either way, they're totally into it. They're especially into the idea of law of attraction and manifest. I will mention that. And they're doing really great in their life, which again, this is a huge compliment to you because it implies that, well, you're doing really well. You know what I mean? Like you've figured out something internally within yourself and then in turn, you're getting that back. How cool is that? Because the Magician card is the main kind of like thesis of the spread. And then we'll be getting into everything more detailed like. And the detail in the journey is really important here. So the Magician card implies, first of all, this is like somebody who's really great at manifesting because they have everything they need, no more, no less. They are exactly the person they need to be from experiences, from understanding, and they are somebody who understands how to utilize kind of like everything. And that implies their connection to spirituality, their connection to their body, the things around them. It's like a whole combination of things and understanding that all of it's important and they've properly cleared out what they need to, getting rid of toxic people or habits. And they're just like fully confident and in control of themselves and just like feel like pure magic, which is so beautiful. I will let you know that the Magician card does highly suggest, but not always, especially when we don't have any like moon cards and other high priestess cards to go along with it, that this person potentially could be somebody who performs and likes to practice magic of some sort. That is not a guarantee. I only like to say it's a guarantee if I see enough card combinations, but I'm just letting that be known that could be the case and that could be a way of identifying them. Anyways, so let's talk about their journey over here. So first off, this is something they've wanted for a really long time, and they were kind of stuck in the daily grind for a while. In their heart of hearts, they always wanted to be somebody who could manifest, who was just like, sure of themselves and able to create the world around them, so to speak. And they were unfortunately stuck in that kind of continuous cycle where you're trying to work hard, again, like we talked about, every day, but there just seems to be no results. And the thing with the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, this implies that the work you're doing every day isn't leading you somewhere. Because when it's upright, it implies, no, I know you're not seeing any rewards right now, you're not seeing any effects, but in fact, it is adding up to something. You will see those results eventually. But it's in reverse. This is like the from the metaphor where it says, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, that's the definition of insanity kind of concept. And in this case, they were unfortunately stuck in that. I can see they were having a huge problem with their throat chakra at the time. They were just unable to fully express themselves. The biggest thing that I'm feeling internally, and Spirit's helping me feel, is this feeling that they had a lot, like they felt pent up, like they wanted to, say to someone, I'm not, that's not what I believe. The biggest one is they had trouble expressing to themselves, like, I'm not happy and this isn't working. That was really hard for them to overcome, but they did. And then this talks about something else, that all of this sort of a lot of hard work, but that it didn't seem to be going anywhere for some time. I'm being interrupted. Or not interrupted. I'm being told information that it seems like they had some sort of job they were very unhappy with, and they're no longer in that job. They're in a job they're happy with. They got kind of out of the 9 to 5, so to speak, and they're doing well. They're doing something else that actually, no, they're still in a 9 to 5, but it's their kind of 9 to 5. It's much more freeing and open. It's not 9 to 5. Sorry, I'm getting a very abstract kind of concept. Okay, they're not full on freelance, but it's like a hybrid of the two. That's the happy medium we're going to come to. Anyways, so in the Ace of Cups in reverse, we can see that they were really struggling to be kind of like an open, loving, trusting person. They were super blocked because of this, because they had been disappointed so much, which is so hard. They wanted to be more open. They wanted to express themselves better. They wanted to be a more loving, a person who can truly connect to those ideas. But unfortunately, it was just a little cut off from them from their previous experiences. The interesting thing here, though, is they had the epiphany that it wasn't about purely their heart chakra. That was not actually the main thing they needed to quote unquote work on or fix or open up. It was actually feeling more grounded. It's like they kind of had a mentality where they were like, okay, I just got to get really centered to understand, like, what is it that I want? And from them kind of connecting to that and expressing that, that's when all the secrets started to be unlocked. Then the byproduct of them feeling more emotionally open and other things started to kind of work itself out naturally, which is usually how it always is, which I love. But anyways, as they were more grounding, one of the main things they connected to was in the Six of Cups upright. They started to realize they need to get back to the core of who they really were, but not just like, so there's different versions of yourself, you know what I mean? Yogis actually believe that there are 10 celestial bodies, or like bodies, some of them celestial, some of here, you, now, that kind of thing. But anyways, they realized that the version of themselves they needed to connect to was kind of like their inner child. They needed to connect to that part of themselves that viewed things in an innocent way without any previous memory or hardship or, just doing things because it's fun and silly and they're not thinking the long term of what it means. And it's a very loving state to be in. And that was like a really nice like reset clock for them. And that's what then helped them connected to the energy and the Empress card. I can see in the Empress card that they do own a cat, which is cool. And you might be saying, if you're reading tarot cards and you're like, well, how can you say there's a cat if there's a cat there, there's a cat there, there's a cat there? I can just tell this is the one saying they have a cat. And I can see it kind of like standing out, glowing. It's almost like it's very sharp and everything else is duller around it. So I'm being told that. So anyways, that's just, if you read tarot cards yourself, that's some of the ways you can kind of identify this stuff. So anyways, they have a cat, but in the Empress card, they totally unlocked the ability to manifest. Now, you can manifest in a multitude of ways, and the way that they found that they really enjoy it and kind of got a hold of it is they got in tune with kind of the universe's natural frequency. They're just in the flow of it. And because they're in that natural flow of it, and that natural flow is abundant, is going to respond to all of your wishes, and that's a person who sees a lot of synchronicities and things like that. That's how they were able to connect to that. And they were able to get on that kind of mind wave, so to speak, due to this more openness through, it's like openness. I always view this sort of mentality as openness in an exciting, silly way, because kids are very like loving and happy, and but while they're open, there is a sense of like they're not always focused on spirituality. You know what I'm saying? Like they just live their life and things are games and opportunities, and that's very much the vibe that came through. So they're doing incredibly well now. What I'm connecting to is they're not super rich, but they don't ever have to worry about money. That's the main thing I feel connecting to. And they have the potential and possibility to ask for more and receive a lot more, but they're just kind of happy and they realize like that's all they really need. So that's something else that came through. And then last but not least, of course, the 10 of Wands in reverse. All of this sense of abundance and connection to themselves and feeling more open and getting to be more connected to their throat chakra and feeling more grounded and stuff like that, really just kind of removed that final sense of weight in their life and tension. But the biggest thing is it helped them be able to set a boundary with other people and say, you know, I don't think that I should have to take on your work, your feelings, your problems, and I'm going to give that back to you now. Like truly full circle self-awareness, just really beautiful. They've really got this life figured out. And so very cool person. I think you will really enjoy connecting and being with them. And I think, again, I'm just going to reiterate this again. You can connect to them because from what they've been through, they fully understand both sides of the spectrums. They're incredibly deep and open and abundant and magical, but that also is because you are. So feel really happy and connected to yourself because you did that, and I'm really proud of you because it takes a lot of work to get here. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2, let's find out who are you manifesting by looking at the cards. We have 2 of Pentacles in reverse, 10 of Wands in reverse, Page of Wands in reverse. The Magician card is super surprising, but I love it. I love the Magician card. 8 of Cups upright, and the Star card in reverse. Interesting. This is so interesting. Okay, so the thing I love about this person is who they once were and who they are trying to reconnect with, like the version of themselves. It talks a lot about and displays their accountability as a person, what they're aiming for. There's a lot of great qualities here, but it is something to note where they're at currently in their life and kind of asking yourself, where are you at currently in your life? Or rather, I kind of almost get this vibe that you don't know that you're expressing yourself, because our words have a certain sense of power. Some people blanketly believe that if you say something, you attract it. But sometimes when you say stuff, at the minimum, you're allowing yourself to feel a certain way and you're keeping yourself there because you're keeping yourself in that mindset. You know what I mean? And this is just something to consider. But it has a great goal or destination they're getting to. So it still speaks very highly of you. In fact, there's no way to speak about you badly, but it's something to help you kind of like heal and be aware of. So which is really cool. So let's talk about, first off, the Magician card. Interestingly enough, this is where they began. This is a fantastic, average fantastic card to get. This is somebody who has a past in order to get here. They are able to manifest incredibly well because they have enough experience behind them, enough connection to spirituality, and their different chakras and their resources, and there's just a certain self-awareness and a lot of factors that all came together in order to create this person who's totally attuned. They have lots of synchronicities and they're able to get kind of everything they want, and they are wise and loving, but usually very sensitive self-centered, and this is a person that worked hard for it. So you understand what they value in life and how cool they really are. This is a very cool person. Magician cards tend to be people who radiate a really great sense of self-empowerment. They tend to be good luck for people. And actually, I just learned this the other day. Where is it? If you have an eyelid on your thumb over here, this implies that you're incredibly lucky for other people. So I hope that I'm bringing you lots of luck. It doesn't necessarily mean that we receive our own luck, but we're lucky for other people, which is really cool. But they are somebody who's self-empowered because they understood what they wanted and they worked hard for it, which is so cool. Anyways, but let's talk about where they by the way, my neighbor's talking. I really hope you cannot hear them. They are incredibly loud lately because we're all at home. So I apologize if you can. I'm assuming you can't though. Anyways, so back to what we were saying. So we have two different things going on. They're both tied together, but let's talk about it. So first, Eight of Cups. They started to kind of feel something was off. I think that this potentially could have happened from an actual move or dramatic change in that way. This could have been from maybe they went for a trip or they needed to change jobs in another city, or they just full on moved. It's this feeling of like transition and internal transition, and something just wasn't clicking. Sometimes that just happens. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It's like there was a internal hiccup kind of feeling, and they got caught up in it for a second, analyzing it and letting it then define them. Unfortunately, it happens. But with the Star card in reverse, this shows that in their transition, they unfortunately started to internally doubt themselves. Now, the thing that's so cool about both the Eight of Cups and the Star card, when we talk about manifesting and this being kind of a reflection of yourself internally, is the Eight of Cups is somebody who is trying to move towards a better version of themselves. They are very down with leaving stuff that isn't serving them behind, leaving the past behind them, and they're always understanding that sometimes they even have to leave good things if it's for the sake of improving and feeling more connected to themselves or the world or whatever they're seeking, essentially. And so this shows a certain level of maturity, but growth and a proactiveness, which is really beautiful, and somebody who is always destined for greatness and a better version of themselves and a better tomorrow because they decide to move forward, understanding that sometimes you're going to have to leave stuff behind, sometimes you're going to move towards something that's not great initially in order to get towards your destination. So I'm not implying that you're headed towards anything bad or they're headed towards anything bad. Not at all. I'm just letting you know that this is somebody super evolved, and that's great. But the Star card's also really positive because while they might not be connected to that trust and hope, this also implies they're actually more in tuned and they're still connected to that magician version of themselves still right now. It's just they're not seeing it. It's there, but they're not connected to it, if that makes sense. I know they said they were connected. You know what I'm saying. It's there, they're just not seeing it and then realizing they're connected. So that's really cool. I love that for them. And in a way, I love that for you. You know what I mean? You're just not giving yourself more, you're not allowing yourself to see what's already great in there. You're already on your path. You're already doing great. So now let's talk about what's going on over here, which is really important. This is somebody who is taking responsibility for themselves and really able to handle the idea of growth internally and self-improvement in a really logical, straightforward, kind of practical way, and I love it. This is somebody who's asking the right kind of questions and doing the right kind of work, which I love. So when we have the Page of Wands in reverse, this is somebody who's feeling like things aren't working out for them. Now, the thing that's really interesting here is when we have something like the Hanged Man, this implies that things aren't working out because it's just not the right time. When we have a Page of Wands in reverse situation, this is when things aren't working out because something's not clicking internally for you, because what's not clicking is you're not really into the thing that you're doing. So this asks you, like, well, what's in your heart of hearts? What are you really passionate about? What really gets you excited? And if that's not, something you have an answer for right now, it's about looking inwards and finding out. And as just a little kind of guidance I'm just throwing out there, if you're like, well, I really don't know what I want to do, don't put pressure on yourself to answer that right away. Don't put pressure on yourself to even have to have it be defined by this big career life goal. Just kind of take a moment throughout the day to check in with yourself and say, am I doing what I really want to do? And let's say maybe you're needing to work on, like, I don't know, whatever, like a work or project or exercising, and you're like, I just don't really want to do that right now. I want to go play like a fun video game or something. Just go do that for a little while and then listen again, because often we stay too long on binge watching TV and stuff, and we don't check in. And often, even you'd be surprised. You could be someone that's totally not into exercising, and if you check in, you'll be shocked. Your body's saying, please move me around. I'm done with this now. I've taken in what I've needed from this activity. Now the next thing. So just start with that. Start with that idea of being connected to yourself and asking what that passion is. Often with the Page of Wands in reverse, it's about being quiet and listening to your body and understanding and getting that message from that part of yourself, not the mental part of yourself, the body part of yourself. Anyways, so moving forward, as they were connecting to this version of themselves and they were like, okay, I'm understanding what I want, blah, 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 they were realizing that they had kind of come into this mindset from this transition from being overwhelmed by too much work. Now, the Ten of Wands in reverse does highly imply, it's not a guarantee, but it does highly imply that a lot of people were asking too much of this person. Often, and I will point this out because it's pretty scummy, it's when other people, and I think many people have been in jobs like this, I think we can all relate, where people who should be doing their work are giving you their tasks. And they find this person that you're attracting basically was like, realized that was happening, kind of woke up and was like, no more. I'm giving it back to you. I don't need it. It's not my problem. And they really relieved a lot of tension in their life. They kind of understood when they were taking on too much responsibility and they gave it back to the people, or they kind of lightened their load, so to speak. And that actually gets confirmed and repeated again when we have a Two of Pentacles in reverse. This is someone who's suddenly aware that while they might have been doing a great job before, again, another compliment to both them and you, they're really good at handling multitasking and doing multiple things at once. It's something they're incredibly good at. But you do have a breaking point. You do have a limit. And they weren't aware of it initially, and now they are, that when you take on too much, think of this person juggling these pentacles. When you hit that point and you start to kind of lose sight of the ball, so to speak, of the pentacle, you can start dropping them. But not just one, you start dropping all of them. It's just too much. It's like a bubble that goes pop. And that's kind of what started happening to their life. It doesn't mean their whole world fell apart. It's just kind of like you're starting to be late. Things kind of start to feel like they're not lining up. You're accidentally messing up in little tasks. And it's starting to be something that kind of goes into each individual, it goes into other parts of their lives because it starts to affect the other thing, if that makes sense. And so they started to say, okay, I understand I'm overworking myself. I'm gonna pull back. And so they did, and they're evaluating that currently right now. They're understanding, okay, I not only need to lighten my load, but I need to understand that I'm still working towards stuff. I can't give up currently all the different tasks and errands and things I need to do at the moment, that I still gotta live life. But what is serving me and what's not serving me? Again, coming from the mentality of passion and love. So this was kind of like a beautiful part of their journey, because not everyone gets to, in fact, it's incredibly rare. This is like, we're talking like ascended master level, to hit this point in your life where you feel like the magician, you feel like this pinnacle version of yourself, and then stay there. A part of the journey of evolving and then getting to that, like you could see it as like the Magician 2.0 and then the Magician 3.0 and these next evolved versions of the same concept. You have to keep kind of checking in and reevaluating, so to speak, every now and then. And for them, they were doing so well, they took on a lot, and then suddenly they realized they took on too much. And in that process, they're not only lightening their load in order to get back to that magician version side of themselves, but they're evolving. They're becoming the magician 2.0 or whatever version of themselves they are becoming by understanding that maybe they should only fill their life with things that they really want to do at the times they want to do it and be that much more connected to their body. Because again, the magician is somebody connected to every version of themselves, every aspect, tangible and intangible. So it might give you a little comfort to know that if you're in a current transitional state yourself, take these ideas to heart and practice them. And also be really proud of yourself, as this person should be proud of themselves. They are being proactive, accountable. They're not blaming others. They're not panicking. They have a great strategy. They're asking great questions. And they're and I hope they understand, and maybe this is a comfort for you too, that you have not lost your way. They have not lost their way. They are still very much on their path. You're just not seeing it. And now the thing is that this is just some food for thought you should consider. Sometimes when we're in an uncomfortable transitionary, figuring some stuff out and getting back connected to ourselves, we can still be, in the star card, everything's working out for us, but it just doesn't feel the necessarily most comfortable. But if we have the star card upwards and we are able to understand, hey, it's all working itself out, this is just a transitionary time period, it makes it a lot more comfortable. So turn that star card around, be connected to yourself and everything. You should be super proud of the person you were manifesting, because they are pretty darn cool. If you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3. Let's find out, who are you manifesting by looking at the cards. We have Ace of Wands upright, 6 of Pentacles upright, 5 of Pentacles upright, 2 of Swords upright, 5 of Swords in reverse. Wow, and 3 of Swords in reverse. Wow, that's super interesting. Okay, so this is a really cool person, which in turn means you're a really cool person. So the biggest thing I'm seeing popping up is their perspective and their attachment and their obsession seems like a harsh word, but we'll just kind of lightly understand I'm using that term very lightly. We'll say focus. They're focused on money. They're very money focused, as in their viewpoint and how they view it and understand it, and how they've had to look at how they look at the money. You know what I mean? And then in turn are able to allow it into their lives a lot easier and kind of have a better relationship with it, and then totally branch away from even the idea of money, which is really exciting. So this is where they're at now, and this is where they were, and let's look at their journey. It's so cool. So 5 of Pentacles at first shows their perspective of, unfortunately, it's somebody who has a lacking mindset. It just never, it's that mental internal monologue where you say to yourself, well, I wish I could, but I'll do it when I feel more comfortable with money. So you're implying you don't have enough money. I don't know. Maybe one day, so you're implying you can't do it, that it's not even possible. It's like they always were projecting that out there, but their projection was through the chase of money. Because the more you chase it, the more you're implying it's something you don't have and that it's out of your reach. And they, unfortunately, were trapped in that mindset because it was so important to them. I kind of get the vibe that it could have been due to something that was a physical illness, like something was... they needed the money. You know what I'm saying? Who doesn't? Totally understandable. But for some of you, that it's the case. Anyways, so because they had that mindset, it really kind of plagued them. It kind of was something they thought about all the time while people were maybe looking around them and enjoying the view. That's just where they were at a lot. And a lot of their, or not like a lot of their life, a good portion of it was kind of trapped there, unfortunately. But then this is when we have sort of almost like an epiphany, which is really interesting, when we have the Two of Swords upright. This is somebody who realized, they came to a fork in the road in their life, and they were like, okay, I've got to make a decision. Am I going to keep being this person and being this mindset? What I've been doing isn't working. I need to make a change. And I need to stick to that change, which is really interesting. This is just some like food for thought, so to speak, and something to think about. When we have the Two of Swords, the Two of Swords and swords imply like a mindset, but we forget there is water in the background. And sometimes when we need to make decisions, it's not always based on logic. It's based on whatever we're internally connected to emotionally. Sometimes our intuition can serve us better than our mind. And it's like they've suddenly clicked into that. Suddenly we're looking around at their life and they're like, this isn't working. And that's what helped them get into this better perspective, because they were too mind driven. So then this is what leads to these two beautiful cards. I am so happy for them, and in turn happy for you, because you're the one manifesting this. The Five of Swords in reverse shows someone kind of finally making amends or peace with either another person, or in this case, an idea. This is so important to take note of, especially what they're facing. Now, the Three of Swords in reverse is in fact not somebody who cheated. It's not about betrayal. It's no one hurt anyone else. Not at all. This is about understanding that the thing that you wanted really badly might have actually been more based on the mindset of it, the intention of it, rather than the actual experience of it. So they realized that their relationship with money was based on what it could do, and not actually enjoying the act of, how do I put this? I feel like I'm tripping over my words a little bit. Apologies. Let me try to get my vocabulary or what I need to say into a more concise format. Because they realized that this relationship and this negative perspective they had with money was more based on the mindset rather than even the experience, it helped them let go of it. It felt like it wasn't so deep anymore, because they were so in their head. Then all these thoughts were kind of an illusion. They weren't actually happening. Yes, were they without money? Yes. But the only reason they were without money is because they were so locked in that mindset before there was ever even a lack of money, if that makes sense. And in fact, I'm almost getting a vibe that it wasn't like they were completely broke. There was some money. They weren't acknowledging it. So because they were so trapped and in love with this idea of the mindset, you might say in love with it, yeah, they must have been subconsciously enough to want to stay there. And that's when you can ask the deep questions of yourself. And I'm not saying that you need to ask this of yourself, but it's something you ask always when you're kind of trapped in these ideas. Why are you so into the idea of suffering? Is it comfortable? Do you feel like that's what you deserve? You know what I mean? Is that what you're familiar with? Is it scary that if you got everything you wanted, you could lose it all? These are like important questions to ask and then face and then overcome. And when they realized that they could overcome it by having this perspective that it was a mindset they were attached to, and that therefore it wasn't actually as deep as they thought it was, and they kind of gave them permission to let it go. And they were then able to kind of make amends with the version they were, kind of accept that that's who they were, and not beat themselves up about it, and not beat themselves up about the idea of that lacking mindset, and let it go. And this is when we get to who they are now, which is so beautiful. The Six of Pentacles not only shows their wealth and that they're doing pretty well, but they're more focused on being pretty generous with people, treating them, expressing their love through money, because for them, it's not that they're thinking, oh, if I give money, I'll get money. That's still like a lacking mindset. That's still an idea that if it's some sort of formula to focus on. They kind of, when they cleared their head finally and asked what they really wanted, why did they want that money so much? They wanted to be able to open possibilities and help others open possibilities that they felt they didn't have before. So they're very helpful to other people, even if it's just to like brighten their day a little bit and help make their life a little easier, or, get them a little snack and have fun in that kind of way. Whatever it is, that's very much where they're at. I do want to talk about and congratulate that they are not someone who it can easily be taken advantage of, though. They're not generous to the point that it's overly done. You know what I mean? I would say they're above average compared to your regular person. Like, there's someone who's not going to hesitate to pay for somebody else's groceries, but they don't feel compelled to do it all the time to define themselves by their self-worth as much as they defined their self-worth by the idea of, being able to attract money. You know what I mean? They're not in that headspace anymore. They just do it because they love it, and they've found peace and therefore view money in a different way, in a more positive light, that it's opportunities, it's not a cage. And then this is where they kind of totally aren't in that mind sphere anymore. It's like they've overcome that mentality and that idea when we have the Ace of Wands. As they've started to connect with people and see other people and what they are passionate about, and helping them find that ability to seek their passion and things like that, and money's not an issue for them anymore, they're starting to be like, wow, what do I want to do? What can I get? Because before, it's like anything they did to earn money was just like, it didn't matter. The money was the goal. And now that money's not an issue anymore, they're more in tune with like being here in the moment and life itself. And they're like, what do I want to do? So very cool headspace to be in. Such a big lesson to overcome. I think in this day and age and in the society we're in, this is a huge problem for most of us. And I just congratulate them, and in turn congratulate you, because you are manifesting this. So I'm really excited for this person. I'm really excited for you. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out, who are you manifesting by looking at the cards. We have the Empress in reverse, the Knight of Swords in upright, the 8 of Pentacles upright, the Queen of Swords in reverse, the 5 of Cups in reverse, and the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. Interesting. I kind of I'm picking up another person. This is about them and a previous relationship, but I can't quite tell. I mean, this almost implies that they are no longer with this person. But because this is a general reading, I feel like with some of you, this is like what's going to happen. This is where they're evolving into, but they're still with this person. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag. I just understand that this person will be out of their life for good, and get excited about that. But their relationship with this other person and what that person represented is really important. I feel like I'm connecting to somebody who's had a lot of not great relationships in their life, and this is someone who you can connect with. Okay, so now this is a general reading. I just want to be absolutely clear, so everybody's included here, but above average, I do want to point out I am more connecting to a masculine entity connecting to a female, did I say entity? Masculine energy connected to a female energy. But this still can totally involve anybody of any gender. I just want to be clear about that. Anyways, so this person you're manifesting is lovely. They are definitely someone I would describe as honorable, trustworthy, hardworking, super diligent, focused, lots of great gusto with them, but they definitely understand that sometimes things take time and they're willing to put in the work. Great vibes, great personality. And unfortunately, for some weird reason, they are attracted to someone who does not support that, who I would almost borderline call them like an energy vampire. They bring them down, they suck away this energy from them. It's not great. And we're going to talk about that. And this is really important because this is a reflection for them about how they see themselves and what they deserve, even though they're a great person. And this is something you should consider asking yourself. Are you attracting people that you don't, that you think you deserve? You know what I'm saying? You think you deserve it, keywords. And it kind of says something more about how you view yourself rather than just purely them. You know what I mean? So let's talk about this. We have the Eight of Pentacles here. This person's awesome. They work hard every day. They're really detailed focused. They're somebody you want on their team. They're going to do a great job. They just understand the benefit and are willing to put in the effort to be somebody who's like, okay, so let's say they want to lose weight. They're like, okay, every day I'm going to, I'm going to go for a walk every day. I'm going to do that. And they just keep doing it day in and day out. Or they're like, you know what, I really want to get that promotion. I understand that I need to work a little harder. And they're able to like just be honest with themselves and do that and bring that effort. If they were an artist, they are somebody who does a really good job because they understand that the work they put into each individual piece of artwork is going to be something that has the opportunity to touch anybody's heart. So everything matters and counts. Great energy, great perspective, really just like a cool person to be around. Sorry, Spirit's telling me something about like a Taurus energy, which is really cool. So anyways, going forward, but here's this other person. This other person has a lot of power in their life. And you're going to hear me repeat this again, a lot of power. They have a huge vibe and energy to them, as well as they're very smart. And they just know how to kind of get what they want immediately. This is something internally this other person wants within themselves. It's funny. It's like they do get it. They put in the effort, but they kind of almost view their energy and their abilities as less than this other person. And they want that power. They want that ability. But the problem is because they are putting themselves down, instead of attracting someone in their life that's really powerful and then can kind of spread that power to them and help them also embody that power, they are attracted to someone who gains their power from negative characteristics. And when we have a Queen of Swords in reverse, this is somebody who's incredibly cruel, jealous. You're going to notice a really strong, like jealous, needy vibe from this person. Not the person you're manifesting, but the person they were previously in a relationship with. And they just knew how to bring down this other person on like way too personal of a note. They just knew how to hurt them in the right way. They're incredibly intelligent about it. Because they're so smart and observational and able to see things for how they are, they knew how to use it as a weapon. It's pretty bad and really heartbreaking to hear about that. But then we have Knight of Swords over here, another great characteristic of your person. We have somebody who's in really, goes for it, brings their best energy. They fight moving forward, and they're very focused, and there's somebody you can depend to come to your aid and speak up for you and defend you, and they're incredibly vocal about letting you know what they're thinking and feeling, and they've got great excitable energy about them when it comes to expressing ideas, and just a really cool, well thoughtful person. But unfortunately, the person they're chasing is the Empress in reverse. Again, this is the person we're talking about. This is somebody who's incredibly needy. They will punish this other person you're manifesting, and if they don't respond to their text messages in time, and be incredibly psychologically damaging by saying, what, you don't love me enough, you know what I mean? Just really trying to like put them in traps and bring them down. It comes from like an obsession personality, because this person's projecting. It's interesting. They have all this power, but they're projecting on them, saying, I need you to remind me that I'm loving, because I really just don't love myself. And unfortunately, we have like a 6 cycle kind of going on between the two of them. And it's somebody who feels they are without, feels that somebody else should be doing all the work for them in order to give them love. Like, it's not about giving them love and putting in the attention for themselves and self-improving. They're like, I demand you to give that to me. Make me feel better. It's your job to make me happy. It's very much that vibe. And the thing is, because your person is so understands the concept of action and hard work and taking charge, it's very easy for them to kind of fit into that role. But that's not what we want for them, and that's not what they want for themselves. And this is when they kind of wake up out of the fog, and where they're either, again, destined to going, or they're currently kind of coming out of the breakup and connecting to net right now when we have these two cards. So the Five of Cups in reverse shows us overcoming the sense of loss. It was initially, they broke up. They were really into this other person because that was the job they were serving. And that's a key word, job. That's a huge thing I want you to point out. Their relationship was a job. Do you review your relationships as a job? And they were overcoming this sense of grief and whatever. But what finally clicked for them was realizing that it was grief and that they didn't want it anymore. And they kind of were like, okay, I went through that, but I also understand that the more I hold on to this, it's not about, it's sometimes in a Five of Cups situation, it's like, oh no, I lost someone, they're not in my life. Okay, I accept this. I'm now moving on. I understand. I'm ready to move on. This feels like more they are acknowledging, ooh, with holding on to this loss comes just holding on to grief. And that grief wasn't even mine to begin with. And I don't want it anymore. I now understand that, and I freely let it go. So it's a certain self-awareness, which is super cool. And then that also talks about, what were they letting go in addition to the grief? What were they overcoming? Well, that's in the Ten of Pentacles, which is so interesting in reverse. This is somebody who, when they are in Ten of Pentacles upright mindset, they have finally received all the stuff they've worked hard for. We talk about how hard they work, and they are so successful and they're so connected. It just seems to kind of spread out like tree stems into everybody else's life, because it's so infectious how powerful it is and how great they feel for the hard work they've done, how certain they are of their ability to make it happen. This is all, again, based on experience, hard work. This is less I know some people view this card as manifesting, and it can be viewed as manifesting, but for me, especially with this particular situation, this is more like hard work and money and success based on what they've done experience-wise, more so. And when it's in reverse, it implies they're right there. They're so close, and it's just on the other side of a thin veil, you could say it. But there's just something. Oh, sorry for bumping the mic. Something's just not clicking. Something's not. Something's just kind of in the way, or there's just and that sense of in the wayness could be just that last drop of self-doubt going away. And by them finally being able to come out of caring for someone like this, they're no longer distracted, they're able to see that that was the case and kind of accept that in order to then make it a Ten of Pentacles upright. And what I mean by accepting it, one, to just truly accept it and go, oh, I'm stuck. Sometimes that's the way you move forward, is finally admitting you're not doing great or things aren't going the way you planned. It's like you address the situation you're in order to move to the next situation. But in addition to that, this is someone who's understanding and finally giving themselves a sense of self-confidence and credit by saying, yeah, but I'm almost there. I'm right there. I'm right there. I've been thinking I've not been there. I've been thinking it's, it's something that's always in the distance, but it's not anymore. It is right there, and I'm waking up to that, and I'm going to connect to that, which is really beautiful. Again, remember, this is about who you are manifesting. This is a huge compliment to you. You are way closer than you think. You have put in enough hard work. This isn't about putting in more hard work. You're doing great. You're right there. It's about waking up and letting go of what's not serving you anymore. And also a certain sense of forgiveness, but also in yourself for that, but also kind of being wow, I'm right there. Taking it, not viewing that blockage as the main focus, but that you're right there at all. The blockage is just a side thing. You'll take care of that. But you're way closer than you thought. You were just starting the race. girl, you're right at the finish line. So I'm super pumped for you and this person you're manifesting. I'm glad they've gotten this person out of their life. I hope this resonated with you and gave you some self-reflection to realize you're worth more and you deserve more. If you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving the video a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Bye!